Welcome to the Enlightened Musician Podcast, a podcast all about the music business and learning how to turn your art into an equally successful business, flipping the mentality of a starving artist into a profitable, sustainable career. Each week, we will interview someone that is excelling in their field and talk tips and tricks on how you can implement that for yourself. Because honestly, how can you know what you don't know until you've been enlightened? So, right now, I'm actually in the middle of Hartford, Connecticut, which is awesome. I actually just played a NACA event, which is National College Event. Played an amazing house show. And what was the last thing I played? Oh, Still Hill Brewery. I love playing there as well. And I just finished a co-write and I just settled down in my hotel and wanted to do this episode, which is actually the in-between episodes where I answer you guys' question and kind of talk about some quick tips. So I thought it'd be a cool way to start out this conversation, especially after last week's episode with William Neesmith and just learning about how to tour locally. So I get a lot of questions online, especially about how I'm touring how you're touring full-time, and getting people into the venues to see you. I want to say, people don't just find me online. Some people do, and just come out to shows and, that's how it's done. That's not how it's done. So I actually wanted to kind of give you a tip on, especially if you're starting out new, or if you're trying to branch into a new audience and just taking the internet aspect out of it. What are some good tips to actually get new people out to shows? And I do want to say that this tip takes a little bit of time, but after you garner this, you'll actually get new people to shows, and each time you return to that area, or if you're playing locally, you'll bring more people out. And so this might be common sense, but a lot of people I talk to don't even realize this. I would play built-in shows where they have a built-in audience. And by that, I mean, so for instance, in Connecticut, I have what I call an anchor date. So I play a show that already has a built-in crowd that I'm getting paid for, that I am not responsible for bringing the audience. Let me repeat, I am not responsible for bringing the audience. Because a lot of times we as musicians just get under the assumption that we should play huge venues and we'll just have a huge audience that we've garnered online because they're going to love our music and then they're going to come out to see us at a show. That's just not realistic. Even if people hear online, they're from all parts of the state, it just takes a lot of time. And, there is a lot of things that can happen online. But this is only for just a quick tip of building people when you're actually playing new areas. So I play shows that are built in. So for example, this one I actually played a college. I also played a house show, which had a built-in audience. I was not expected to bring anyone to this person's house to play their house concert, which was amazing, but they brought everyone out for themselves. And then I played a brewery, which was Still Hill Brewery, which I love. I played here 3 times now, and they had a packed house as well. So what is all that to say? So when we play places that have built-in audiences, we actually create new fans that come back to see us. So within the college realm, a lot of the students that come to the show, when I come back in town and play somewhere locally, they come out to that venue. So if you can tell, I did 2 not public and 1 public venue. So I only play 1 public place when I'm actually back in town in an area that I haven't been before. The reason that I do that is because really you don't want to play too many places if you're touring through a town that are public, that spreads out your audience and your crowd. So the private events, play as many of those as you want, or at least the built-in events where you can already have a built-in audience that you're not bringing. But the public events, make sure that you kind of keep that more inclusive to one show, that all the new fans that you've built over the multiple times that you've come back can have a show that they come to specifically while you're in town, that you can really promote that one show. So I played the 2 private ones because I'm building audiences on those. So like, for instance, the house show, that was about 50 people in there that had never heard me before. So hopefully out of those 50, a few, if not all of them, really enjoyed the music enough that next time I'm in town, when I promote that next public event, they'll want to come out to hear me. So I said earlier in the episode, this is something that actually is over time that you have to do. This has actually worked really well for me. So every time I go into an area, it might just be a small amount of people that I get to like me at these built-in crowd shows, but the second time I come into that town, I have double the amount. And the third times, those people that liked me bring their friends, and it keeps building. So each time you come back, it should be that you get a bigger audience. And then over time, you'll kind of find those areas that really enjoy what you do and just typically bring the most people. And I think that is one of my favorite ways to actually build a new audience, a new crowd, either in your own area starting out or when you're going on tour and trying to build your audience without having to use the internet only. So I hope this quick tip helped you and kind of gets your brain thinking about some new ways and new ideas that you can start building some new fans and some new ways of finding some new local venues. And I also want to say a couple of those just while you're thinking about it. So a couple of these that you can think about. I mentioned house shows. Very cool way. And that's also a good way to start out in different states and different areas that you have no earthly idea of. We're going to do an episode that really dives into how to find those shows, especially when it's not the state that you live in. Also, I mentioned breweries and wineries. There is actually websites that show all of the breweries in a state and all the wineries in a state as well. Also, we have the festival and fair market, which is some of my favorite areas. We'll talk about that in another episode, so definitely make sure you tune in. And also, there's other kind of just abstract things like I talked about earlier, NACA, which is the college market that I work in. There's also things like within North Carolina, I have something called the furniture market, which brings people from all over the world into one location to buy their furniture. They also use music throughout the week. I've booked shows for house shows in different states because, like I said, it's an international thing. People hear me at this place that only is a private event, but they like my music and bring me into other places. So there's so many opportunities, and I hope that this actually just gets your brain stirring and gets you thinking about some new ways that you can build your own audience, and hopefully this quick tip helps you think of an extra way to do that. So I'm going to do this bi-weekly. So if you have a question or have something you would like me to talk about, please go to theenlightenedmusician.com and on the contact page, submit a question. I'm going to be answering anything from quick tips to apps you'd like me to talk about to things of scheduling, anything you want to talk about. Feel free to write on the contact page and ask me a question, and that will be on the next quick tip. See you guys next time. Thank you for joining us this week on the Enlightened Musician podcast. Make sure to visit our website, theenlightenedmusician.com, where you can subscribe to the show on your platform of choice so you'll never miss an episode. Until next time, this is Lauren Light.